Hello. Hello, minions. Diablo Treluz, thank you for the resub. Wowie, happy gays is what he says. It's true, these gays are happy. Well, they're not happy right now because we have a murder to solve, but that's not a very happy topic, but in general, I think. In general, yes. Am I feeling better from last week? Yes. It was just like a momentary, during the live build stream last week, it was just a very momentary feeling of lightheadedness. It passed very soon. Live Von Zeke's reaction. We'll see that a lot, because we're going into the trial today. We're going into the third case trial. Or rather the, I don't know, it could be multiple days like the second trial was, so the first trial segment of the third case. Am I ready for racism? Always. I'm always prepared to handle Von Zeke's racism. Don't worry, I can fix it. I could fix him. He's got style, he just needs to stop being racist. That's all. I respect the evil Baron look. You just need to stop being racist. I'm not... Everybody's like, you're a villain. That means you have to just say terrible things all the time, right? No. That's not what the true evil is. That's not what fun evil is. I like being fun evil, which is wearing like dark and sexy clothes and annoying people online by being very flamboyant. Right? I think being evil isn't necessarily about saying slurs. Everybody's like, if you're evil, why don't you just do awful things? And I say to that, no. To me, the philosophy of being evil, and I've talked about this a bit, is defying the status quo. And I do that. I'm here for liberation, for chaos. And that means killing your local senator. Anyways, time for the trial. It's the 23rd of October. 8:52 a.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. You're going Ungo over the new professor? Which one? Because there's like the one that's like a cave woman for some reason, and the one that looks like a guy who got put through the Yassify filter. I can't believe it's been 6 months since I was last allowed to work in court. Oh yeah, that's right. We went to the Chief Justiciar or whatever, and he's like, yeah, you can be a lawyer again, it's fine. You've had your time out. They just put Ryunosuke in timeout for 6 months, basically. And now here I am, back at the Old Bailey. Well, this is the guy we thought was a German professor, but he actually turned out to be British and just studied in Germany, so I had to drop the funny German accent. Ah, Mr. Naruhodo! Good morning, Professor Hairbrain. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. The atmospheric pressure in here is off the charts. I've never felt anything like it. It's crushing me. I feel it every time I'm here. That gravity, conal pressure. Well, this is Britain's highest court. Professor Turo looks like a guest contributor for Breitbart. All right, let's not go too far, even though you're right. You are correct when you say that. There's something about him that's just off-putting to me. People are like, some people on Twitter are looking at the new Pokemon Professor guy, and they're like, ooh, daddy. And I'm just like, I don't know, he just looks like he's been put through a filter. He looks like he's, like I said, the Yassify filter. He's been Yassified. Also, I really like Hairbrain's like poses and animations. He's so bendy. But are you telling me it's fitted with some kind of device that can actually control air pressure? I think it's probably all in the mind. Yes, well, you won't let me down, will you, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm counting on you in today's trial to save my life! to save the secret of my super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine from being made public. That was a mouthful. Quite, I had to take a mouthful of breath for that one. Yes, I understand. See, here's the thing. Here's what I've learned. It's not that some Pokemon designs are intentionally horny. Some of them are. There's definitely some Pokemon characters that are designed to be, like, attractive. But there's a lot of them that are just like, this is just, like, a normal middle-aged person. And everybody on Twitter, and there's so many Pokemon fans on Twitter whose brains are so full of cum that they like, oh, they're so hot, they're so thick. Yeah, exactly. He looks like the Chad picture. He looks like the Chad meme guy. His face sculpting, that's what he looks like to me. I can't take him seriously. I think Pokemon fans on Twitter just have brains full of cum. I think that's the problem. Yes, I understand. I know what I have to do. I have to establish that the explosion 2 days ago was nothing more than an unfortunate accident. I can't tell you N isn't attractive. I think N is pretty okay. I feel like people who are attracted to N are on the more reasonable sides of things. But sometimes people are like get the hots for one Pokemon character. I'm like, this is just a normal person? You're insane. Please drain the cum from your brain. Well, I'm sure there's nothing to worry about, really. Justice will prevail. My commiserations, Mr. Naruhodo. You appear to have been lumbered with a most tiresome case here. Ah, it was Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes, I didn't expect to see you here. You're never awake on time. That was very mean, Runo, leaving me alone at home with Hurley. It took me at least an hour to wake him. Is it? Are you? Sherlock Sholmes? Indeed, sir, I am he. Sherlock Sholmes. Oh, I've heard all about your exploits, even whilst living in Germany. Ah, yes, Ramst magazine is on sale in Germany, too. This month's installment was sublime. Your deduction in The Adventure of the Silver Blaze was wonderful. Ah, yes, a memorable case indeed. It concerned a snake, I seem to recall. No, that was the Speckled Band. He always goes back to the Speckled Band. I don't know why. We did that a whole game ago. Come on, catch up. Well, thank you for coming. I do appreciate your support. I'm sorry to disappoint you, my dear fellow, but I'm afraid I can't stay. Oh. I have urgent business at Madame Tussble's. You mean your waxwork job? No, the waxwork abduction, of course. Madame has engaged in my services. Ah, so you're trying to get to the bottom of that ransom note, are you? I'm sure it won't be relevant to this case at all. The week's wages depend on it, as does the safe return of the waxwood, naturally. As such, I intend to give it my undivided attention. Oh, well, never mind then. I understand. Of course, with my skills of observation and reasoning, resolving the matter will be as easy as proverbial pie. I shall return forthwith. For until I solve the case, I shall have no money to afford any pie of any description. Ooh, then you must absolutely give it your full attention, Hurley. Quite, Iris, quite. But life is riddled with irony, you know. Whenever I give something my full attention, I have quite insatiable desire for a pie. One of the universe's intractable mysteries, you might say. Oh yes, quite, definitely, absolutely. I totally understand. Is someone a little starstruck? You finally got young Moriarty in FGO? I know Moriarty is one of the very popular OG sons of Fate Go. People love old men. Some old men in Fate Go are very popular. I wish you the very best of luck, Professor Hairbrain. Oh, ahoo! Why, thank you. Before I depart, Mr. Naruhodo, a word in your ear, if you please. What's this about? As you have remarkably little grounding in science, I feel I ought to inform you. As compelling as the super high voltage instantaneous kinesis hypothesis may be, a practical implementation, such as attempted by the professor at the Great Exhibition, is quite impossible. But the professor said the demonstration was a success. Come on, Ryunosuke, come on, man. It's super obvious that when the machine exploded, it just, like, blew the guy, so he, like, flew into the clock tower. He didn't get teleported. Yes, it would appear that he fervently believes it was. I've read Professor Bunnybrain's paper about it too, Runo, and I have to say, I'm always bunny-brained. I've got bunnies on the brain 24/7. My brain is bunny. I'm sure it can't be done. It could barely be done theoretically, let alone practically. So he's completely barking up the wrong tree? But how can an experiment that had no possibility of succeeding, in fact, succeed? That's contradictory. And we all know, and we here at Ace Attorney all love contradictions. And if it's that contradiction that will be at the heart of the trial, I've no doubt. What's that supposed to mean? Now, I must hurry along. I wish you the best of luck, my dear fellow. See you later, Hurley. Adieu. There he goes. He's fading out. One thing that's kind of fun is that, because Susato got sent back to Japan, Iris is kind of our assistant now. Susato's just hanging out in Japan. So she's kind of been taking Susato's place in that role. Well, it looks like you're on your own today, Runo. But chin up, you can do it. Oh, what about you, Iris? No, I'm afraid I can't help. Well, never mind, she's not our assistant. Never mind. I have something I need to do. I see. It's going to be a big surprise for you when you find out what it is. That sounds ominous. Counsel for the defense and the defendant. Court is about to be in session. Make your way into the courtroom at once. We're on our way. I guess Iris is no longer our assistant. We are assistantless. We're on our own. I also hope Susato has had a lot of success with her cross-dressing lawyer career. She looked very dashing as Ryotaro. An experiment that the laws of science say can't possibly succeed. You don't want to be spoiled, so you're leaving? Okay, bye, Diablo. Thanks for showing up, for as long as you could. And a scientist who's convinced that it did. That's the riddle you have to unlock here, Ryunosuke. That's the key to this case. The 23rd of October, 9:10 a.m. The Old Bailey Courtroom. Oh, look, this looks like a completely new set of jurors. We've had a lot of recurring jurors so far, but this looks like a completely new set. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are sitting today for the public trial of Professor Albert Harebrain. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready, my lord. Definitely not nervous. I'm 6 months out of practice, and what's more, she's gone. She's just like that one gif of the guy piecing out and then fading away. She's gone. I'm without Susato-san today. Is it just my imagination, or does the air in here feel even more oppressive than usual? So, I must say I recollect the victim of this case all too well, Mr. Odie Asman. Mr. Asman was well known as a financier, though that was merely a front by his diverse criminal activities. It was only a month ago that a man appeared in court prosecuted by you, Lord Von Zeeks, but the jury unanimously found him not guilty. as every member of the jury had been bribed by the sound of it. Yeah, now Von Zieks has that mysterious masked man as his assistant. I don't know if that masked man will appear in this court, though. These powerful London criminals are prepared to go to extreme lengths to keep their freedom. But 2 days ago, on 21st October, Mr. Osmond met his end. The work of the Reaper, was it? If that is how your lordship would describe divine retribution. But the fact remains that Mr. Osmond's death was the direct result of the actions of the accused, Professor Harebrain. Very well then. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people. Are the 6 of you ready to fulfill your societal duty? I'm most gratified to have been selected to carry out this important civic duty, my lord. His face is so rectangular. He looks like how people draw Uncle Sam, but without a beard. Oh. Do you have a man's fate in the palm of one's hand? Oh gosh, oh golly, it sends shivers down my spine. Who the fuck is this guy, this magician? Science experiments, magic, conjuring tricks, courtroom trials, all or nothing more than performances. Fucking mayor of the city over here. We got some real goofy ones today. Yeah, he does look like Dick Dastardly. Any spurious scholar that viles the reputation of science deserves to hang. What? Why is a Girl Scout here? Are you even old enough to be here? We have to listen to what's said on both sides of the fence and then settle on why that's it, isn't it? Oh, and it's the sleepy cop from Madame Tussbells. Why is there a baby here? Are you even old enough to be a juror? Wasn't like this in my day. Wasn't like this at all. That's the police killer Automole look-alike. Again. And he's as exhausted as ever, it seems. Oh boy, we've got a real clown circus today. Now, as I'm sure you are all aware, the incident we are here to judge today tragically took place at the Great Exhibition shortly after its opening. Though the death toll could have been far worse, with the exception of the victim, no one was killed. Nevertheless, the dream of the science being exhibited rapidly turned into a nightmare for the spectators. A tragic turn of events, and as such the eyes of all London, no, of the whole world, will be on this trial. It is our duty to reach a swift and just conclusion, I feel. Oh boy. Let's see how long we can drag it out. Whenever the judge is like, we gotta wrap this shit up fast, you know it's gonna be a long trial. You know it's gonna be in multiple parts. So, your opening statement, please, Lord Von Zieks. At the heart of this incident is technology never before demonstrated anywhere in the world. One of science's latest developments, I take it. The government is keen to capitalize on the Great Exhibition to improve Britain's technological advantage. The technology being demonstrated by the accused was described as super high voltage instantaneous kinesis. Good lord. It's designed to disassemble human subjects using extremely high voltage electricity and beam them instantly to another location where they're subsequently reassembled. Is such a thing even within the realms of possibility? Well, I don't believe it, that's for sure. Disassembling people with electricity? My goodness, how shocking. Ha! The whole idea is absurd. The hypothesis would never stand up to scrutiny. Sir, I believe you are a fellow of the Royal Society, are you not? An expert in your field. He's a science man. How could I have guessed? How could I have known? There's no way to tell that this man was a man of science. I am, and my word on the matter can be considered final. Instantaneous kinesis is poppycock. Poppycock. Cock. So this expert and Mr. Sholmes are in agreement. It's impossible.
What is the prosecution's view on the matter?
The prosecution would assert that the accused's instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a success. What? What rot? Yeah, I don't know. Why does he have so many, like, badges and stuff? I thought he was, like, a military guy for a second because of that until he pulled out the potion. I guess they could be, like, science awards? Like the Nobel Prize? Order, order. The professor's hypothesis is currently under investigation by the British government. If it is deemed to have merit, a substantial research grant would be made available. The accused made use of the invention built on his new hypothesis to take Mr. Asmund's life, in order to be the sole benefactor of the grant. But... This disastrous demonstration was no accident. It was carefully designed from the outset to end the life of the victim. Rabble, rabble, rabble. Who could have seen it coming?
Thank you, Lord Van Zieks. The prosecution's stance is clear. But you will now bring forth witnesses to substantiate your claims.
Gladly, my lord. Oh, the cape's coming off right away. Bailiff, show the first witness to the stand. Oh, it's the professor and, the cop. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court.
Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector of Scotland Yard's Homicide Division. I was on duty at the demonstration on the day in question and in charge of the following investigation.
What a wacky man.
Albert Harebrain, scientist.
You were born in England, but have been carrying out research in Germany in recent years, correct?
Yes, that's right. After graduating from the university here in Britain, I went to work in Germany and made an amazing discovery, which is what brought me back. I had to demonstrate my incredible hypothesis at the Great Exhibition.
What you demonstrated was incredible, all right? An incredible explosion.
But the science was a success. The instantaneous kinesis worked. Everyone saw it. They must have done, yes. There was that terrible accident, but the demonstration of my hypothesis was a success.
Well, that much is undeniable, as shown in this photograph taken by the forensic investigation team.
Shot through the heart.
Why is his face so detailed here? They like gave him like handsome Squidward face.
This was taken inside the Crystal Tower, I take it. The centerpiece of the exhibition, no less.
That's right, my lord. Seems the victim rammed straight into it. Yeah, this is what I always assumed. He didn't get teleported, he just got exploded so hard, he flew up into the tower.
I see. Very well, submit the photograph as evidence.
Photographic print of the victim being taken after he had ostensibly been beamed to the Crystal Tower. It shows an apparent stab wound to the chest. Yeah, like there was a big hole in it even. I assume like he blew through the Crystal Tower and got stabbed in the chest by the glass.
As the courts heard, the victim of the incident was Mr. Odie Asmund. There's been a number of allegations made against the man, putting them aside for the time being. He was the man who had financed the research for the experiment and the demonstration itself. I see. So to summarize the situation, the defendant is accused of taking the life of the man who funded his work. Would that be correct?
Exactly. But couldn't it be that the explosion was caused by some malfunction in the apparatus used for the demonstration?
That's right, that must be it. My splendid machine, my poor splendid machine. You saw it yesterday, didn't you? We can't even examine the wreckage thanks to the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. What? The wreckage? The wreckage? Well, that being the case, how can the facts be established? How can it possibly be determined whether this was an accident or a deliberate and malicious act? Ah, with bullshit, Your Honor. Extremely simply, my lord. I beg your pardon? Isn't that right, witness? What? Sorry, me? No, your neighbor. Yes, sir. It was murder, plain and simple. Anyone could state that with complete certainty. What? How can you possibly think that? Thank you, Inspector. I think we had better proceed to formal testimony. You will explain to the court on what grounds you claim this experiment to have been a front for murder. Yeah, how can they know the machine didn't malfunction? Is it all just conjecture right now? The corpse that went crashing through the crystal tower had a broken neck. I made a minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam projection, that's all. That was my mistake. The post-mortem examination revealed another injury, a fatal wound. There was a lesion in his chest where he'd clearly been stabbed by something sharp right in the heart. The victim's original name, Erida Meningen, is a pun on Erai Dame Ningen, meaning incredibly bad person. Well, I guess Odi Asbin is a pretty good way to translate that pun. So the victim was killed before he went anywhere, and this fella's the only one who could have done it. An extraordinary business. In addition to suffering a broken neck, the victim was stabbed in the heart. Information I would really like to have heard from someone other than the judge. The coroner says death would have been all but instant from a wound like that. You could say, in fact, that the victim was killed twice by the accused. No, that couldn't be further from the truth. Now I have here the experiment plan document that was submitted to the security team. The victim stood himself inside something called the birdcage, ready to be beamed instantly. Poof! To the second level of the crystal tower, but 25 feet away. 25 yards, sorry. Yards are longer than feet. The experiment did not go according to plan, however. As the machine was put into operation, there was a large explosion. The blast caused the beam transmitter to point higher than intended. PC crashed, how are the gay lawyers? I'm sorry your PC crashed, Katskin. I hope the issue is resolved. We're still in the very beginning of the trial. We're still at the first witness testimony where they're explaining things. How this stupid machine worked. That obviously is not a functioning thing. Accordingly, the kinesis resulted in the birdcage materializing in midair, from where it subsequently fell, crashing through the glass of the crystal tower's large round window. My word. One assumes the victim's neck was broken upon impact with the tower, then. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. The machine was just too powerful. But honestly, really, I swear, it was just an accident. A terrible accident. Unfortunately, that excuse can't save you. No, not considering the sharp murder weapon that pierced the victim's heart. Murder weapon? What are you saying? This is the autopsy report submitted by the coroner. The prosecution would like it entered into the court record. Your request is granted, counsel. His neck was broken from the impact of a violent fall, and he was stabbed in the chest with a sharp object. This is so easy. This is so easy to figure out. Come on. He crashed through the crystal tower, which is made of glass.
How else could he have gotten stabbed? Come on.
I was there in person, you know. I saw the whole ludicrous performance. And the only other person on the stage with Mr. Asman was that disgraceful excusable scientist.
Then really, by all accounts, it must have been him. Hard to think otherwise, really.
Very well. Counsel for the defense. Proceed with the cross-examination, please.
Oh, yes, my lord. I need to focus here. Slap. It's been a while. Alright. You're rusty, Rianowski. You gotta get warmed up. Let's start with an easy one. Albert's original name, Benjamin Dobinbo, comes from Dobinbo, or lack of money. That's funny. B-I-N-B-O-U.
Hold it!
Are you suggesting that's because he fell from a considerable height? Exactly, which highlights something else about this whole rum business. What's that? The fact that the instantaneous kinesis itself was a success. Ah! After the explosion, the cage with the fella inside suddenly appeared out of nowhere in midair.
So, although the experiment ended in disaster, the so-called instantaneous kinesis did actually occur.
Remind us, Professor, what was the cause of the fatal disaster?
Hold it!
So the angle of projection is critical, is it? And you calculated it yourself, personally? Absolutely. The calculation is far too complicated for anyone but me to carry out. Only if you got it wrong, didn't you? Yes, that's right. That's the point. The calculation is so complicated, even I can make a mistake. Do people fall for that brazen confidence? I should try it. You gotta have confidence in yourself. Even confidence that you're the only one who could possibly make this mistake. I took into account the subject's height and weight, the wind direction, the ambient temperature. I considered every possible variable, so I just don't understand how this could have happened. Obviously, then, you had to include the weight of the clothes Mr. Asman was wearing at the time, I suppose. Ah! This is a new one. That's a new animation there. Rattling comets! The answer should have been 3! So much for safety first. The 3 must be for safety third. Well, at least now he knows where he messed up on his very real science experiment.
Hold it!
Another fatal injury, you say? That doesn't make any sense. I didn't think I'd have to spell this out, but here we go. Just because there were 2 fatal wounds doesn't mean I'm saying the victim had 2 lives to lose, does it? 2, right. Obviously, at first, we thought the bloke had died due to his spine snapping in half as well. But you're saying that's not the case? You'll get your answer once I've finished my fish and chips, if you don't keep butting in every few seconds. But we all know that's a bottomless bag. Yeah, your animation loops forever, Gregson, that's not fair. The victim plummeted 30 feet into a glass tower. It would be reasonable to assume that is the cause of death. Right, that's what we all thought. But it was a red herring, wasn't it? Let me, I'm not gonna present it yet, but let me look at something. Oh yeah, there was a crossbow. I guess that could have killed him. But like, my initial thinking is, wouldn't they just assume the glass? Like, there's all this fucking glass here. He couldn't have been stabbed by that? Hemorrhage of cause of death, hemorrhage of a wound to the chest that pierced the heart inflicted by a sharp implement. Additional observations, a broken vertebra, most likely resulting from impact after a sudden fall from considerable height. The fish and chips is safe on block. They should make an Ace Attorney fighting game. They've already proved Phoenix can work in Ultimate Marvel. They should just make an Ace Attorney fighting game. If it can work for Umineko, it can work for Ace Attorney. I think I need to press more. I don't think I can jump to any presentations right away.
Hold it!
The defense knew nothing of this crucial information. The prosecution received this report from the forensic investigation team only this morning. That was the first we knew of it as well. I can only apologize for the impossibility of informing the defense.
Von Zeke's the first man to apologize for updating the autopsy report. Isn't Phoenix in a fighting game? Yeah, that's what I meant. He was in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and he was a lot of fun there. Yeah, the autopsy report was updated, but this time Von Zeeks didn't mean it. He's actually frustrated by it too. Sarcastic and insincere? Thanks. So, what was the nature of this sharp object?
Among the accused's tools that were in use at the demonstration, one is of particular interest. This.
Ah, yes, we saw that at the investigation. The weird A screwdriver. Ah ha ha ha! There he is. My trusty little companion, Andrew. Andrew, of course. It's a screwdriver that looks like the letter A. Therefore, Andrew. Ah, do you know each other already? He's one of my dear friends, like all my tools. I've named them all, you know. We're one big happy family. All right, buddy. Let's turn it down a notch. Andrew is my flathead screwdriver, of course. His brother Michael is a crosshead. Michael.
Well, it would appear that your beloved Andrew has a red stain on his shank.
Uh-oh. That isn't...
It's blood, beyond all reasonable doubt.
No. Do I name my tools? I don't really work with tools. I have people for that. I would never get my own hands dirty. Come on. Why would I do that when I can make you all do that for me? And that's not all.
The long, sharp shape of this Andrew fellow is completely consistent with the victim's wound.
What? What?
Order, order. The court will enter this friend of the defendant as evidence.
Okay, Andrew. We have acquired Andrew. That said, I do have various implements, restraints and studs for other things, but I've never named those. That would be a bit weird. You know, the torture devices, quote unquote. So one of Professor Hairbrain's tools, the murder weapon? Great. Do we have a profile for Andrew? Let's... Well, I'll have to take a look in a second. What about my model kit tools? That's a good point, actually. I've never named those. I guess I do use those tools. I don't think of them as tools, really, but I guess they are, by all definitions. No, I can't say I've named them. I think that's kind of weird.
Hold it!
What grounds do you have for saying that?
Ha! Do you really need to ask? There was only 2 people on that public experimentation stage in front of the whole crowd. The victim, Mr. Odiasman, and the accused, Professor Hairbrain. And we know for certain that before the experiment, the victim was alive. That's right, I saw him with my own eyes. Furthermore, following the explosion and kinesis, nobody went anywhere near the body. In other words, only someone else on stage with the victim could possibly have done it.
Great, I knew he was gonna say it eventually. Fucking Great Scott. Every scientist guy loves to say Great Scott. Reed Richards says it all the time, too.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Professor Hairbrain, do you have information that may be relevant here? Professor! He's so twitchy. Ah, sorry. I was just calculating the optimum coefficient of electrolysis to separate molecules in the human body. And the witness stand is the best place for that? It seemed as though you might have something to say. And what about Inspector Gregson's last